Hello and good afternoon, my ILP family. I hope everybody's doing great on this Tuesday afternoon, August the 10th, 2021. I want to send you all a brief message. I was so pleased and thrilled to be able to share with you all my experiences and my takeaways of being candidated in weekend 4 on Friday. So I shared this with several of you all who were in the group with us, and hopefully you found some value in what we talked about. And it seemed that we did from the comments that Ada made and Valerie about that conversation. So thank you for allowing me to be an inspiration and to be someone you could actually lean on. I was asked by a few other people and a couple of coaches to share what the experience was like for me going through that weekend leading up to candidation in weekend 4, and also even my experiences since then leading. Twice I had to lead live before getting candidated because I didn't get enough people in the first one. So I had to go back and do it again on that Sunday of weekend 4. So I wanted to share with you all what the experience was like and some of the things that I feel like really made a difference for me. And as maybe a means to be inspiration for you to know that you can do this, because you can. You absolutely can get this done, and you will get it done. And I'm here to support you in making that happen. I want to just kind of go back and again outline. I want to thank the coaches for everybody who's poured into me and helping me make this happen and causing me, and Felicia, number one, for really standing for me and causing me to stand for myself. When I put that and declared it out into the universe that I wanted to be candidated by weekend 4, which I did not know what I was doing. Had I known, I probably wouldn't have done it. I tell my buddy Susie all the time, you're smarter than me. You didn't say you wanted to be candidated by weekend 4 because you knew better. I didn't. So Felicia pushed me forward to make that happen. Maria, Kat, Nadia, Coach Patrick, Mary Pat, and everybody who were on these transformation works with us, Mrs. Lou, Phoebe, now we've got Dawn as a part of helping us really be great here, and this is what we're doing. So much great support that we have around us, and we really have no reason to fail. The facilitators that are there with us on the weekends that we do are really powerful as well. So I thank each and every one of them. But I wanted to share with you what that experience was like and some of the things that really, like I said, made a difference for me. Leading up to that week before, when I finally got the call from Felicia telling me how close I was to being candidated, because honestly, I was so focused and driven on getting guests and getting registrations, I didn't even know where I was. I really wasn't. I was looking at my metrics and updating them every week, but I wasn't really tracking, okay, am I there? Am I there? I wasn't looking at it like that. I was just focused on being in other people's worlds, really getting into what's important to them, what they wanted to cause for their lives. And I turned up and I had 2 registrations left that I needed to get and 3 guests. And I didn't know I was that close. So when she called me and said that, I was like, I'm that close? And she's like, yeah. She said, we can make this happen. I'm like, okay, well, let's do it. So we got started. And the first thing I needed to do was to get, of course, all my shares signed off on. I wasn't there yet. I didn't have all my shares signed off yet. I hadn't completed the checklist. There was so many things that I hadn't gotten done yet that I was like, man, there's so much more to do. I don't know how I'm going to do this in a week. So she's like, we'll get it done. So she scheduled time with me. We locked it in. We spent hours on the phone, hours on Zoom, going through my shares, going through everything to get me checked off. And it's a commitment that she had to really causing me that weekend. So it was really amazing to see that happen. And once we got to the point of getting everything simultaneously, actually, as we're getting everything signed off, we were trying to create the mock introduction and get the graduates that we needed there. So we scheduled the first mock that week leading up to weekend 4. And we had 4 people scheduled, only 2 showed up. So it's a no-go. I mean, it was a great introduction. We had a great time together. Enos was there. And Enos, I want to thank you personally, man, bro, you made a difference for me with the feedback that you provided me. And the other coaches or graduates who were there from Tennessee that Felicia pulled out of nowhere. She's like, I got 3 people for you. You're ready to go. We ended up having 4. No, I'm sorry. We had 3 for the second one. The first one I had 4 scheduled, but only 2 showed up. And Enos was one of those 2 with a guest. So thank you for all the feedback you gave me, man. Once again, I really, really, really appreciate you and acknowledge you for your skill and expertise in what we're doing here, and looking forward to partnering with you in the future. So that went on. I was slightly dejected because I, worked my butt off to get to the point to get these guests there and these graduates there. And, we just couldn't pull it off. And I was like, man, I got to do this again. So Felicia's like, yeah, we'll just do it on Sunday on weekend 4. I'm like, okay. So in between that, so we did the mock. That worked out really well. And they did a mock and then a live one, which didn't have enough people there. And that's why I had to do another live one on that Sunday. So mock with 3 graduates went great. The second one only had 2 people. The third one I had 6 people, 4 of them registered. So we're highly effective lead on that weekend 4. So very grateful for the people that partnered and trusted me to have their guests there that night. So one of the things that I didn't really get going into that weekend was the gravity of what was placed upon me, the responsibility. And we kind of know it, but we don't really get it until you're sitting there and you have people that are counting on you to make a difference in their guests' lives. And it really hit me that weekend of how important, actually before that weekend, even the first one that I did live with Enos's guests, that was huge for me too. And so thankful that he and I were able to partner and make that happen for his friend that was there, his college roommate. It was awesome. So even being in that, I got the gravity of what we were really doing here, like the ability and the power that we're being handed to actually transform lives right there in the moment. And one of the areas that I wasn't quite comfortable with, and I'm still working through to be comfortable with, is the powerful interactions. To me, that's where the magic happens in this whole process, is really getting them to take hold of their lives, pull back the hood and look at their lives and create a possibility for themselves, and then knowing how to stand in that as a way of being, getting them to really look and acknowledge and see what's missing for themselves. That's huge for people to be authentic in that regard and really just acknowledge that it's there. Hey, you know what? That's missing for me, and I'd love to have that. Well, what would it be like if you had that, right? So it's one of the biggest pieces and most important pieces of the entire introduction, in my opinion. And I just wasn't comfortable there. You know, I went through the intention of the introduction and each section of the introduction, and I told Felicia, I'm like, you know what? I can do this. I said, I'm not great at it. She said, it's okay. Just step out there and do it. And I trusted her, and I stepped out there in faith, and I did it. And it wasn't perfect, but that's okay, right? It's okay to not be perfect. And I had to let that go because I have a tendency to want to do everything perfect and right. And I had to let that go. So that Sunday when I led, I practiced in between those times the powerful interactions. I did some mirror work around that, in asking those cascades of questions and really getting into that person's world and practicing being over there with the guests, and getting out of my head and getting into their heads really made a difference for me. And one thing that I know for sure is that nothing really happens. You don't get great at anything without practice. I mean, it is repetition after repetition after repetition after repetition. And you don't want to practice so much on people's guests, although you have to. So to me, it's more important for me to practice in my home with my buddy, with you all, right? To practice so that I actually am fairly good when I go out there and work with your guests, because again, I get the responsibility that we have in doing that. So the practice is it's a no-brainer for me to put the practice in and the repetition. It's the one thing that truly makes a difference. One of the things you might have noticed about me as well was my willingness to always be the one to mock in the transformation workshops as well as in the creation calls. If you've been in a creation call with me, you may or may not have picked up on it. I know Nadia knows. I'm always the one to raise my hand and say, hey, I'll mock with you. Because I know that if I don't get the repetition and the practice, I got to get some game film. I got to have some feeling of what it's going to be like with my guests. So this, the only way I'm going to get that is by mocking it with someone. So I'm always the first one to raise my hand and do that. So I want to encourage each of you, when you have the opportunity to do that, mock with your buddy all the time. It makes a difference for you. And then, so that was really big for me. And then going into that live one, practicing those powerful interactions, and the Angie Mattingly recording. I've listened to that several times. I've listened to all those recordings that we have several times over and over and over to really get comfortable with the powerful interactions piece. The rest of it is I'm feeling pretty good about that. My shares, there's still a few things that I'm not completely clear about. But I'm 90% there, and it just comes with repetition. The other thing that I didn't know was all the creation, not the creation call, but the other telephone calls, the possibility clearing. So when I went through it that weekend, I wasn't fully present to everything that was happening as it was happening, because I was so caught up into, oh my God, I'm getting ready to lead here live. I got real people that are going to be counting on me to make a difference for them. And I just wasn't fully present. Going through it this last time, as I was supposed to lead an introduction this past Monday or yesterday, that didn't pan out, which is okay. Nothing's wrong. Didn't pan out. So I was really present to the process, of having the possibility clearing with Dr. Phoebe the night before, and I think that usually happens 24 to 48 hours before you lead. And then also the actual center clearing that I did with Dawn Carpalanga. Thank you, Dawn, for being there to support me in that. And that was great. She really got me set up for success, got me clear on anything that was in my space, and got me really prepared to go into that introduction powerfully. And then also the debrief that takes place after the introduction. So I didn't remember all that stuff happening before I led that weekend. It just was a blur to me. The whole week was a blur. So this time I was much more present to okay, this is what you expect. Okay, this is the form you fill out to do this. This is the form that you do when you debrief. So now, as you practice it more and do it more, like I said, the repetition, everything becomes more present and alive for you. And that has made a big difference for me. So I'm running up on about 10 minutes. So I wanted to share all that with you. I'm always here. I'm open to support. There's nothing special about me, right? It's just putting in the work. You all are capable of getting candidated by the end of this program. And I want to offer my support and my continued and undying encouragement and inspiration to cause you to believe in yourself that you can do this, because you can, right? So please feel free to reach out, text me, call me, whatever you need. We'll make the time available so that I can support you in getting what you came here to get. And that's to be candidated to be an introduction leader for this work. I love you guys. Peace and chicken grease. And I'll see you around, probably in a transformation workshop or something. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.